Welcome back to the channel where we fearlessly empower others to reach their full potential. So in this episode, we're going to talk about communication. The lessons learned is communication equals connection. If you are not relatable, if you are not emotionally connecting with somebody, you're not communicating. Number two, the main theme of all of this takeaway, besides connecting with somebody, is be a spark of light in somebody's life. Then they will connect with you and they will communicate with you. Last, nonverbal communication is the majority of communication. Only like 12% is what the words you are using and what you are saying. The story I'd like to share with you is I used to be a teacher to teach people how to communicate, how to talk to the public, how to talk on camera, how to talk to the media. And that was my job. So one of the things I can very easily tell you is I can tell you when somebody was listening. If somebody was listening, their non-gestures were sharper, their voices was louder. But when somebody's not listening, their voice lowers and they kind of look downwards and they're very kind of dismissive, like they don't want to be there. This can be a learned skill. For example, when I'm talking, this is my natural gestures, this is my natural, and if you're with me every week and you've seen my other videos, that's my natural talk. But then I click on media mode and I can slow my speech down and I think about every word I say before I say it. And so if I want to focus on a word and emphasize it even with my nonverbal gestures, I can slow it down. It's a learned skill. Let's get into the verses. Ephesians 4:29. Do not let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouths, but only what is helpful for building others up according to their needs. Building others up according to their needs, that it may benefit those who listen. Proverbs 12:18. The words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Ephesians 4:32. Be kind and compassionate to one another, forgiving each other just as Christ forgave you. You start to notice a theme straight out of the Bible. Come on. All right. What is the most important part of communication? I covered it. It was the first lessons learned, connection. The most important thing is, are you relatable? Are you building that person up or are you tearing them down? If you just go back to the verses, you already know the answer. Every organization has issues with communication. If they do a survey, if you get a 360 survey done on yourself, you're going to find out that communication, besides leadership, is probably the number 2 or the number 1 issue that is happening in your group. Remember, listening is one of the key ways you can build trust, but the art of listening is when the other person feels heard. Let's go into 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Therefore, encourage one another and build each other up, just as in fact you are doing. Okay? Starting to notice a theme here? All right. It is surprising that we spend so much time in school and when we develop ourselves reading, writing, but we spend very little time improving how we speak and how we listen. I would say those latter two will help you no matter what you want to do. Remember, verbal communication is only 12%. That means the rest of it is nonverbal. It's your tone. It's the nonverbals that you use. Your subconscious mind, or how you view the world, will be how you communicate. So your body language can provide clues. So what can we look for? As a teacher, I told you I could tell you when somebody was engaged or disengaged. A person sitting more straight with their head held high, their voice louder, maybe they're leaning forward a little bit, engaged. Somebody who's kind of laid back, maybe has their head in their phone, barely answers any questions, is very disengaged. Or when somebody is using hateful or toxic words, the other person is probably going to start to tone them out. These are things like if you say, I hate this, I'm sick of this, I don't like this, I'm Are you using that language? Ask yourself and be honest. Are you at your job and you say, I'm tired of this, I'm sick of that person, I don't like what they just said? Or are you trying to find the good? Are you that spark of light, or are you the darkness? You need to decide it, because if you want to communicate well, you need to be that spark of light. The way we communicate is how we see reality. It's just the truth of it. All right, how can we see the world differently so that way it can help us communicate better? The first two impressions that you have on anyone is the way you dress and the way you talk. Proverbs 12:18. The words of the reckless pierce like swords, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. So if you are that spark of light in somebody's life, you are going to bring healing. One of the most valuable things you can do is be that spark of life. It will help you in your career. I don't care what you do. If you learn how to speak better and listen better, you will do better. If you want to improve your family relationships, learn how to communicate. If you want to improve, what you do and make a difference for whatever cause you're supporting, learn how to communicate. Try things like this. Don't talk about what you hate to do. Talk about what you love to do. Don't tell me about your problems. Tell me about your opportunities. Don't tell me how tired you are. Tell me how inspired you are. Don't tell me about your troubled past. Tell me about your potential future. Don't tell me what broke your heart. Tell me what opened your heart. These are some simple things that we can do to better help us communicate. Let's go into the personal exercises for this week. You have to have the right frame of mind. So let's read into Galatians 5:22-23. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, faithfulness, goodness, kindness, gentleness, and self-control. If you can understand that, if you are trying to be that spark of life by yourself without the help of the Holy Spirit, it's going to be harder. So I would say always pray and ask for that right frame of mind, so that way you can start. And especially when you're learning how to communicate, because as soon as you say, man, I hate speaking on camera, because trust me, even though I speak on camera a lot, it took me a lot of lessons and probably a lot of praying to get to the point where I am today. Next, pull out a journal. One of the most important things you can do in your life is to journal. And in your journal, let's create two lists. What kind of words that you use to tear yourself down or to tear others down? I hate this, I don't like them. And then other words that you use to build up. Wow, how can I help you? Wow, just simple words like that. And then put them in the columns and try to eliminate all of the words in the tear down column, and then keep adding words to the build up column. Next, learn how to tell your story. If any of you have seen my earlier lessons, you have to learn how to tell a story. That's why I begin each lesson with a story of me teaching other people, being a teacher in front of the class, and giving an example of the students who are paying attention and the students who are not. So the person has to be able to visualize what you're trying to tell them, so that way they can remember it. That's how we remember things, is great stories. Now for the team challenge. Remember, communication equals connection. People want to know 3 things before you talk to them. They want to know who you are. They want to know what you're going to share and why should they care. Each lesson, you've watched my other earlier videos, you know who I am. You know why I want to share, right? You know why I care, because I want to see you reach your full potential. No matter what you want to do, I want to see you reach your full potential. And then what am I going to share? We already know this act is about communication. Do the same when you're talking with folks. If you can answer these questions. Next, I've said this twice already, learn how to listen. And that's when the other person feels like they're heard. Try when you're listening to mirror what they're saying and matching kind of what they're saying, so that way they feel like you're listening. Next, when you're speaking to your team, Don't use language that will distance you from them. Well, we're here today to talk about steps 1, 2, and 3. No, I want you to learn the 3 most important things on this subject to make you a better person, or to help you do this project. You see the difference on that? One is brings you closer, the other one kind of step 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm out. All right. And then when you talk to a group of people, if you're that person who's afraid, just make it real easy. Just talk to one person at a time. Make that connection. Even if you're giving a briefing, talk to one person. Make a connection for a second. Go to the next person. Make a connection. And if you're answering questions, answer to that one person, because there's 10 other people probably in that room that have the same question. Well, I'll end this act wishing you a very blessed week and a very blessed day. Don't forget to fearlessly empower others.